Hello, everyone, and welcome to Reimagine 2021, brought to you by Mousebell. I'm your co-host, Ashlie Meredith, and today we're bringing you a very special edition of our virtual blockchain conference series. This is the 10th anniversary event. We've been bringing you content and community virtually almost every month since May 2020, and we're just super grateful for the following that we've built over the last year and all of the wins in the crypto space and the opportunity to interview such interesting people and hear what they're working on. So today I'm pleased to introduce our next guest, Bradley Miles. He's the co-founder and CEO of Roll, a blockchain infrastructure for the social economy. Welcome. How are you doing today?
Hey, Ashley, happy to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. So before we get into what Roll is doing in the blockchain space, as you know, we have a robust university program. We've been interacting with students from over 100 universities in 24 countries. Really recommend any students tuning in to check out mousebelt.university. But I always like to ask my guests, kind of tell us about your journey getting into blockchain. What were you doing before? How did you make that leap? And do you have any advice for students who are looking to do the same?
Yeah, I've been pretty fascinated with the blockchain space for around 6 years. I became so passionate about it that I started just looking up where all the news came from. And most roads led to a site called CoinDesk. And I reached out to the editor at the time when it was around 5 people and said, I have to work here. And annoyed them a little bit, and eventually became the head of research at CoinDesk in 2015 or 16. There were around, I think maybe less than 10, known researchers in the space at the time. And my big task was to formalize a product called the State of Blockchain Report, which was a 100-page report that came out every 90 days. So I needed
Wow.
to know just about everything in the space, from Bitcoin mining market share to GitHub commits per blockchain, any metric you could think of or fathom. I need to sort of have all the information for. Around 2016, we started really thinking about Ethereum and how to include that in reports, and really never looked back at that time, and had this idea that Ethereum could maybe change the future of digital communities. What would a digital community look like with its own monetary system? Can that exist independent of platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, etc.? And I thought Ethereum could be a really good tool to do that. And this could be a really good end state for platforms. And so around that time, I independently wrote a book on venture capital. I was working at a few venture capital firms as well, called Break Into VC, and the book did really well. And someone I met along the way was happened to be the managing director of TechStars New York, and I was talking about some ideas like this, and he wrote me a check on the spot at a restaurant, and
Wow.
I became a blockchain EIR, entrepreneur in residence at TechStars, in 2017, 18, and just sat down in a corner for a while, and found my co-founder, Sid Kala, who also is in the blockchain space for over 8 years, and started Roll. Yeah.
Wow, what a great story. So, what was it like? Did you have a background in journalism or media? What was it like kind of getting your start at a media company like Coindesk?
No, yeah, I was just super hungry. Generally everyone was, really figuring things out at that time. Um, yeah, you can achieve such an alpha by just literally being early and showing up, and just kind of knowing what you're talking about a little bit, or just having an idea or thesis that's interesting. And yeah, as we move forward, I just got to have a front row seat for everything. Everyone coming into CoinDesk, all the founders and everything, and then eventually just got the itch to become a founder after hearing so many interesting stories.
Yeah, well, that's great advice for people who want to get involved in blockchain. I think it's still early enough that be hungry, get in early, even just bug people till they give you a job. People in the blockchain space are friendly enough that you can really reach out to a lot of the CEOs of these companies. People like the team at Mousebell, we always like to hire interns, and many of them have been able to get full-time positions with us. It's still early, and so just being hungry and getting in early and getting that domain expertise in blockchain, knowing what you're talking about a little bit opens a lot of doors, and then you can really take it in the direction that speaks to your passions. So in doing all this research and learning more about Ethereum, you applied that to what like a digital world would look like with its own economy, specifically in like social platforms. Were you always kind of interested in redefining the way we engage online socially? Did you want to start your own social media platform? What was the thinking there?
Yeah, I just think digital communities are just one of the most fascinating things on the internet. I've always admired people that have built for digital communities. I remember when Patreon came out, just thinking it was like the coolest idea in the world, but I was thinking this probably isn't it. It's probably something after this that like happens. You saw things like YouTube creating a donate button and Twitch and things like that. And I was like, this isn't it. There has to be something else here that's more important. And really just that passion and, blockchain as a concept in my life kind of collided and helped me and my co-founder form Roll.
Absolutely. Well, we'll have you like plug your book a bit because I think it's something that people tuning in might be interested in. Where can they find it, and what are some of the top things or tips or advice you would give as far as breaking into VC?
Yeah, so the book's called hashtag Break Into VC, and it is a collection of everything you need to know to become a venture capitalist. It became a bestseller on Amazon, right up there with Brad Feld's Venture Deals and a few other venture capital books. And literally, I've been kind of blown away. I went on like a mini book tour after it came out in like 2016, 17, and was really just blown away by the response because I wrote it for kind of students that were just kind of looking to get in. But I have investors that have read the book and started funds and invested in my company, which is very interesting. There's CEOs that have read it and raised. I get pings every day from people across the world that have just read it and they're like, "Hey, thanks for breaking this down." So yeah, it just talks through all the terms you need to be familiar with if you want to be on the other side of the table as an investor, how to analyze companies, break down case studies of how to do that, and then interview some people towards the end of the book that just were VCs. And turns out no one created a book like that on like just how to formally get into the industry, not how to like raise a Series A or deal, just literally how to break into the industry. So just became like a classic for the kids to read. So yeah, it was really, really fun book to write, super easy, soft skills book. You read it, you feel like you know what's going on and could go out and get a gig or raise a fund or do anything like that.
Yeah, that's so important. Even just like knowing the terminology, you can helps you feel less like an outsider, right? And break into these industries. Well, we love resources like that. The next time I have a student I'm advising who is interested in that, I might recommend that to them. Also, we have, breaking into blockchain. We had a great panel with some of the students that have gone through our university program. Anyone just tuning in to Reimagine, check out our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We've got a Breaking into Blockchain panel with students who've all gotten jobs in the industry, one of which is now the CEO of a media company. It's all really exciting to see. Yeah, I love being in the space for many years and watching people kind of grow their careers. So check out that interview. Well, let's dive in then to Roll, exactly what it is, built on Ethereum, I assume. And what's the thesis? What's the vision for monetizing digital communities, and how does it work exactly?
Yeah, so me and my co-founder are very lucky to have just been researchers in the space for a while. So we've been thinking about this category, why it should exist, why it's important. And you can really tell the story of what's happening right now over the past 20 years. So over the past 20 years, you could largely consider, the most important things that have happened on the internet as sort of user-generated content, tools for likes, posts, videos, streams. These tools collectively for user-generated content have generated, billions of dollars for platforms, and creators kind of get the leftovers after that. Once you plug in sort of a decentralized backend or blockchain new piece of infrastructure there, you realize this opens up an entirely new feature set for creators, so much so that it warrants its own new version of this concept. It's almost upgrading the social internet. And so at a thesis level, really see this transition on the internet from user-generated content to what we kind of started calling user-generated capital. So creators can now not only create their own posts and videos, but now they now have the option through Roll and other tools to create their own capital. And we see this capital existing in two ways. So largely that can be, sort of content, which is sort of taking the form of NFTs, and that's going to have its own life. And what we're most interested in is community. So communities can have their own capital and their own money. And Roll, quite simply, is an infrastructure play for this sort of concept. So we allow anyone, anywhere, anytime to create their own social money, or is more, known in the space as social tokens, or starting to become known as. And we allow anyone to create it, buy it, sell it, trade it, and send it anywhere on the web, very similar to PayPal or Stripe. Roll is a sort of technology that can plug natively into other apps and also has its own ecosystem. And so there's around 350 creators on the platform right now that use social money, constantly. So maybe the most well-known is the actor Terry Crews, and another one is huge in the NFT world, Whale Shark, who created Whale with us. Terry created Power, and there's hundreds of others. So similar to like the journey of the first 10,000 YouTubers doing really exciting things, starting things like maker studios and a bunch of other things. I think the first 10,000 people that start create their own currency are going to do really interesting things as well. So we're just super excited to be telling this story and helping creators have their own currency and own their own social capital on the internet.
So Terry Crews is using Roll. That's awesome.
Yeah, he created Power. TechCrunch wrote about it a little bit. He's fascinated with artists and just engaging in the art world. He has his own animation studio as well. And one thing Terry, Whale Shark, and a few other creators do is this fascinating concept. So Roll we really consider as a piece of infrastructure. But on top of that, of course, what makes infrastructure important is applications. And so this is what people are doing with their currency. It's fascinating. So we really thought of Roll in the beginning in like 2019 as a way to transactionally spend social money. So, you'd have, opportunities, and you could spend Ashleys, 10 Ashleys, and you get this or that. And people want Ashleys. But in reality, people, would want to hold Ashleys and then spend it. But no one would really maybe like want to invest in Ashleys, because as soon as you get it, you just kind of want to spend it on this opportunity. And so a lot of Roll creators had this idea to gate access to their community. So this is largely happening on Discord and sometimes Telegram as well, in their own currency. So Terry is the powerhouse on Discord. And in order to get into the powerhouse, you need to hold 50 power. The reason why that's fascinating is because, similar to Bitcoin, Roll creates a finite amount of power or social money that exists, in the space. And you don't have to take our word for it, of course. You could check all this out on Ethereum. And so if I'm holding, let's say 100,000 power, I literally hold 1% of Terry Crews's, monetary supply, which is fascinating. And so that's impossible to do on Patreon or OnlyFans or Twitch or YouTube, because there's not a finite amount of this thing. And so these are unique features that communities can have, a stake in the success of what they're a part of very early on. And we really see this as like a new form of self-expression. almost like folks wearing, a jacket from Supreme or something like this. You'll soon start to see people, kind of show off the different types of currencies that they have, and it'll be able to access different things, maybe even things where the creator is not even there. I may want to start someone may have an audio chat application, and in order to, I may create a room where, you need 10 power to get in, and we may talk about, Idiocracy or White Chicks or something like that, like a movie Terry was in, and Terry doesn't even need to be there. We're just expressing ourselves through this new form of money. And so that's fascinating. And very soon, our APIs will be farther along so that we'll have an interface where thousands of developers can plug in and they can make these things a reality. So Roll is not effectively going to create the next Twitch or, audio chat app or streaming. Many other entrepreneurs will have the opportunity to do that. We'll just be the infrastructure that allows that to make sense.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I love the idea of, and I think that the most exciting applications of things like an NFT are this smart contract that you have now that you hold that could then maybe unlock certain experiences or that make that thing hold value over time because of what you can get access to certain airdrops or enter a chat. If you have so many of them, that's great. I think that's very creative and super interesting. So how do you see, so you're building the infrastructure, it's not actually a social platform. I'm thinking of, kind of maybe failed experiments or slow to start experiments like Steam or Hive or different types of Twitter applications that are on the blockchain, which all is great for censorship resistance. But what do you think makes you different, and what do you think it's going to take to crack the code on this idea of incentivizing creators and putting more of the ownership and money back into people's hands, as opposed to Facebook, which is making all this money off of our data and advertising to us, etc.
Yeah, so when we first started building Roll, there was a concept that was around that is now, extraordinarily popular in our world. So decentralized finance. And what we can now do is, there's this established, concept of the creator economy, and there's decentralized finance. And what Roll is actually doing is sort of converging until these two are kind of the same thing. And they form sort of a, DeFi creator economy. And in this DeFi creator economy, if you will, the people that we're talking about, so the creators that are on Roll, can have their own liquidity. They could have their own trading volume. And these are sort of new versions of monetary freedom that are possible. These are folks that hold millions of units of their own currency. If you're early, you can, get a bunch of someone else's currency, buy it, sell it, trade it, create other experiences in it. And these are very new, sort of realities for people. So we're super excited about how that's developing and the future of that. So these new types of creators, will sort of come to the internet with their own currency, their own liquidity, their own trading volume, which we could then, plug into all of these existing applications, exchanges, social platforms, and other ways to engage.
Awesome. So where are you all at in your roadmap? You mentioned some things coming down the line, more robust APIs, so more developers can plug into the infrastructure that you're building. Give us a little story of your journey, where you've been and where you are, where you're headed the next few quarters.
Yeah. So we're very early in this idea. And so right now people are onboarding directly onto Roll, right? So there we have a little button, create social money. You fill out an application and name your currency, upload an image, and we pay the gas fees, and your currency is live on Ethereum. And you could use our tools to plug it into Twitter and send it, and sort of all these things. Similar to PayPal, not seeing a world in which the concept of online cash only exists on PayPal, but instead being a piece of infrastructure that allows e-commerce as a category to just be the most enormous thing in the world. Roll quite simply sees the same thing with social money or social tokens. So I think it'd be naive for us to say, like, in order to create social money, you need to go, everyone in the world needs to go to tryroll.com. So instead, everything we've built, we are basically going to give to other platforms. So in the future, you may see a reinvention of Spotify or a reinvention of OnlyFans or a chat or an app for beauty influencers or babysitters, and you may see the option for them to create their own tokens. And the entrepreneurs that are creating those platforms won't necessarily be Web3 entrepreneurs. They'll be entrepreneurs that are very passionate about the beauty space or babysitting or gamers or any of these things. But Roll will sort of serve as a backend. So we'll allow other platforms to mint these types of tokens on behalf of their users very easily. And this is where we see like a Cambrian explosion of this idea happening. And so the journey of Roll is to gather every piece of financial infrastructure we can together, whether that's exploring relationships with other fintech companies like Visa, or plugging directly into decentralized exchanges like Uniswap and others, and then effectively giving that opportunity to platforms that will help, some that are already mass social like Twitter, and others that could emerge specifically to be the primary gateway for a specific type of application in this universe. So someone may want to create a polling app where you can vote on the poll, but instead of just clicking and voting, you could vote in Ashley's. And so in order to do that, you would need Roll APIs to verify that amount and send it. And that person may just want to create a polling app, but we'll have the APIs to like involve these communities. Another thing that's fascinating is this world of like spatial audio and video. So folks sort of like recreating Zoom and new metaverses and all these things. And so, imagine having your own planet, in order to be a citizen or like have access to that planet, you need to hold one Ashlie. So the person building that application would be fascinated with, metaverses, and we'd be the APIs that allow, folks to verify that you have a certain amount of someone's currency and, exist in these spaces.
Very cool. So just very broad digital community, social economy. Any brand or person or project could have a token and create unique experiences for their community based on their investment into that community.
Yeah, we've literally seen concepts like e-commerce or online video just explode once, infrastructure changes. 40 years ago, there were 3 channels, ABC, CBS, and NBC. It's how you got content. 40 years later, there's 30 million channels with things like YouTube, et cetera. All that really happened is the infrastructure for content and video changed. And, Roll is, our vision is to change the infrastructure of money. And as many YouTube channels as there are, we feel there will be that amount of currencies. And, we want to bring that world into fruition, very soon.
Absolutely. And the easier that you make it for people, like the sooner that's going to happen. And this mass adoption that we need to really see some of the innovation, this kind of like pie in the sky dreams we have for decentralization, freedom, privacy, all of those things. Got to make it really simple and easy for people. So, well, that's also exciting. Any big partnerships that you have secured lately? Are you working with any of these traditional finance companies, or any exciting announcements, or you can tease some announcements for what's coming up for Roll?
I could definitely say that we're going to announce some stuff later this year. Yeah, so we have a lot of global partners that are very close to the company that, we'll announce like later this quarter and next quarter.
Well, that's exciting. Where can people find more information so that they can receive these updates?
Yeah, so you can go to tryroll.com, which is our website, and kind of read about us. You can click this creator hand in the corner if you're interested in creating your own social money on Roll. You can check out our Twitter at TryRollHQ. And yeah, you just email me. People email me all the time, be like, what is this? Can I create meme coins? So it's Bradley at tryroll.com.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, and who are you most hoping to hear from? I know that you guys are hiring right now?
Yeah. I'm very excited about aside from like the APIs and Web3 infrastructure, concepts of staking and like plugging in at platforms. Yeah, I'm really excited just about like the media side of this, like the informational side. So I know it's a weird, strange world, but basically if folks are interested in like writing about this topic or um, just learning more and maybe publishing about it, or just curious to talk to creators. We have sort of a massive influx of people wanting to do this, and just because of how we want to do this, we have to like talk to everyone first before they create their own currency. um, yeah, if you're just interested in talking to creators or learning more, yeah, I would love to talk to you.
Excellent. Well, we'll have to check back in with Reimagine, and we're making a big play in media as well, and trying to bring all of this information to a wider audience. So we'll definitely keep in touch on that. And just to round out the segment, like we said, this is our 10th anniversary event. We've been doing this for over a year. Anyone who's just tuning in, if you're just getting into the blockchain space, tons of education available on our Reimagine 2020 YouTube channel. Head over there, hit subscribe, watch some of our past interviews. But it seems like a good time anytime you have, an anniversary to think about, where you've been, where you're going, maybe some backwards looking statements as to like how the last year was for you and what do you see as far as the future of crypto, maybe the next year.
Yeah. This last year was really interesting for us. We met a lot of people globally that we'll kind of like announce soon. We realized the importance of just securing these types of digital assets. This was a very playful company. We had these playful coins for creators, and now the market's over $100 million. So having the same security as an exchange and the other things, like, and just kind of growing up, upgrading the company a bit, was really important for us this year, and meeting people that have formed incredibly huge companies that we're interested in helping out. So we're super grateful to have those partners. And then looking forward, is that
Yeah, what do you see happening in the crypto sphere the next year?
yeah. So I think what we really do is turn communities into a digital asset. And then, so once communities become a digital asset, and let's say have a spot market, so let's say Ashleys are very liquid, and it's $10 in Ashlie. There's, $6 million of liquidity. You have your own cool, room on Clubhouse, and it's, 100 Ashlie to get in, but 100 Ashlie is $1,000. And so someone may want to create, a lending market for Ashleys. So we may, supply Ashleys and get, 8.9% APR, back in Ashleys for supplying this and having this decentralized lending market. Or, you may do something silly. I mean, we may want to go short Ashlie or long. So I think our job is to really, get digital communities to that point where there's a fairly liquid spot market. And then from then, DeFi can really, take hold, and you could have, social money derivatives markets, social money lending, like all these new concepts that emerge. But we do see a world in which digital communities, and it's happening already with some, Whale Shark and a few others, are have a higher market value than some protocols. So this is something that I think we'll see a lot more of in the next few years.
Absolutely. I love this combination of digital communities and DeFi, and I definitely see that coming in the future in crypto. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and everyone who's just tuning in. This is Reimagine 2021 virtual blockchain conference series. It's our 10th anniversary event, and we've been talking with Bradley Miles, the co-founder and CEO of Roll. And head over to tryroll.com to learn more.
Thanks, guys.